What's going on, guys? We're back with a brand new video. In today's video, it's like a very different type of video. I'm talking about like a single team in AFL history that was one of the most weirdest teams personally that I thought, mixed with a lot of players that people were thought were past their prime, and then young talent where people were kind of unsure about how good their young talent was and if they actually had like elite young talent. And then this St Kilda 2016 team ended up having like such a weird year where they like, it was like all of them were just playing like above their standard. Ended up having a great season, finishing ninth with the same wins as North that finished 8th. So if they had a better percentage, they would have played finals with a team that on paper was not great at all. So let's get into who had breakout seasons in this year. But before we get into the breakout players, I want to show the best 22 for each single team. So this was the team that St Kilda had entering 2016. This is what people predicted their best 22 to be. But then there's a few names changed going into the season. So this is the best 22 by the end. And you see some names that missed out was like people like Jake Carlisle missed out simply because he was the first year at the club. He ended up going down with that Essendon scandal that everyone knows about, and yeah, that was pretty much the biggest difference, and some big inclusions into the team in the end of 2016, as I'll show now, was people like Tim Membry breaking into the team, Jay Gresham breaking into the team, Shane Savage coming into the team, players like that, which really just had a big impact. So now I'll show 5 years later what the St Kilda Best 22 looks like. So the new St Kilda Best 22 only has Jake Carlisle, Jack Billings, Jay Gresham, Tim Membry, Seb Ross as the players that were from 2016 that are still in the squad now. So St Kilda, the 2016 St Kilda side was meant to be the rise of these young Saints, but there's like 4 St Kilda players still at the club now that were originally in this team. So let's take a look at the players that made this team look like that they were this young up and coming team. We ended up, it was like they had this 1 year up and then they just had that 2017 year where they just missed out on finals again. Then 2018 they just completely went downhill and had it hit like another rebuild type of stage. Now the first player that I'm going to name is Mav Weller. Now Mav Weller had a career best year after getting drafted to the Gold Coast and come over to the Saints, and he's had an absolute impactful year. He fit the St Kilda game style this year, which was a running gun, pressure forward, all built on like pressure that led to goals, and he just was this high tackling, just absolute strong, run all day, quick, X-Factor type of player, kicking 24 goals for the year. Had such an impactful year, and people thought this was the start of an absolute brilliant career from Mav Weller. But this ended up being like his last year that he was successful. He barely broke into the side in 2017. I don't think he played a game in 2018, and then ended up getting delisted in 2019. So from this young up and coming X-Factor small forward, turned into being delisted just 2 years after this year, which is absolutely crazy to think now. Next up is a weird one to think now, which is Tom Hickey. Now Tom Hickey at the stage just arrived from the Saints for giving up a high draft pick a few years ago to bring Tom Hickey to the club, and until pretty much 2016 he never really panned out. At the time St Kilda were looking for a ruckman and could not find one. They had Billy Longer, Lewis Pearce and even Jason Holmes at one stage as kind of like their ruck partnership, but then ended up being Tom Hickey, who had a breakout year in 2016, and everyone thought that St Kilda finally found their man in the ruck. He was almost an All-Australian contention midway through the year. People actually thought he was actually like that impactful of a ruckman, and for about a 5-week like stretch, he was the best ruckman in the competition, which was absolutely crazy to think now. Next up is Seb Ross, And this man, a lot of people know him now because of how much of a good ball winner he is. But at the time, in entering 2016, like St Kilda were wondering if this man was actually going to like work out. He was like, going to be a good player because he barely played it. Ended up playing 12 matches, only averaging 17 disposals in the 2015 season. But then he broke out playing every single game for the Saints in 2016, averaging 27 disposals a game, which was the start of an absolute star-studded midfielder and one of the youngest midfielders that people actually had so high hopes for. He did have a down year this year, but we cannot underestimate how good this man was, and he was such a breakout star in this 2016 season. Next up is Tim Membry, and this man is a very, very loved St Kilda player now, and it broke out into the scene as one of the, probably the most known St Kilda player currently at the club, you would have to say. And he got drafted to the Sydney Swans, but then ended up getting delisted and then get picked up by the Saints in 2014. Barely played games in 2015, but this 2016 year, he ended up breaking out as like the main key forward almost in this team. He was a third tall to, or even a fourth tall at times, so like Paddy McCartan, Nick Riewoldt, Josh Bruce, but he ended up kicking the most goals out of anyone in the St Kilda team in 2016, kicking 44 goals and absolutely exploding onto the scene. And he only played I think like 16 games, which was absolutely ridiculous. He was averaging 3 goals a game, that's ridiculous, especially as an undersized key position player. And absolutely broke out in 2016 was a big reason why they were actually successful. Now, as most people know, Jay Gresham now is this almost inside midfielder, ability to push forward, has kicked so many goals in his career. Well, 2016 was actually Jay Gresham's rookie season. And he ended up having an alright rookie season, setting up most goals, playing almost like a mid-forward role, only kicking 11 goals for the season, but he was so impactful and such like a bright light for the St Kilda team. And kicking that famous goal against Geelong that were top of the table at the time. I'll just have to play the clip now. That's just to round off this breakout season from Jay Gresham. I'll have to play this clip.
Poker, will he get there and take the mark? No, Gresham won't. Got around Lonigan. Right foot snap. Oh, tell me. Gresham's kicked an absolutely unbelievable goal.
So no surprises here, I just showed that Jay Gresham clip, and that Jay Gresham clip came from this absolute thriller of a game. It was a back and forth contest the whole day. St Kilda kept on taking these little leads until the fourth quarter. Now the fourth quarter, Geelong started off by kicking the first 3 goals of the quarter, taking an 81-90 lead going into the last 7 minutes of the match. But then some Jay Gresham and Jack Stephen magic absolutely showed out on this team.
Poker, will he get there and take the mark? No, Gresham won't. Got around Lonigan. Right foot snap. Oh, tell me. Gresham's kicked an absolutely unbelievable goal. Dangerfield back on the ground. They can't have him sitting on the bench last 4 minutes. Soccer off the ground. St Kilda. Jack Stevens kicked it. The boy from the Great Ocean Road in Lawn has kicked the goal. St Kilda are back up by 3 points. They're out on their feet. Have a look at this. There's a fair bit of space inside 50. Which way does it go? Harry Taylor. They need a mark here. Kick round the body. Bartel nearly did it. 8 seconds remaining. Through came Montagna on the ground. That might be it for the Saints. Saints fans can't believe it. And there's the siren. A magical moment for St Kilda. One of the great upsets of 2016. They've beaten the top of the table Cats.
This team ended up climbing up the ladder in 2016 due to they had veteran players like Nick Riewoldt, Sean Dempster, Sam Fisher and Lee Montagna, who ended up sustaining their play from the previous years of St Kilda's success, like the 2010 and 11 teams that they were a part of. And they let the young players like Jay Gresham and even lesser players like Nathan Wright, who not many people know about, that had a pretty decent season. They just let them play with confidence. Their game style worked with the team that they had. They had this high pressure, like high scoring team that had so many different avenues to goal. And not people like this season was actually not meant to be worked out. People thought this Saints team was going to work out like the previous 2015 Saints when they only won the 6 games. Because St Kilda started the season 2-6, but then ended up winning 10 of their next 14 matches for the season. That's like absolutely ridiculous. That's like 2018 Sydney Swans like type of level there. Why did this team fail? Now, one of the main reasons this team failed is at the end of 2016, all the veteran players retired, which left the young Saints team to try and climb up the ladder. Like the players like Nick Rowell, Sean Dempster, Sam Fisher, Lee Montagna, all ended up retiring, which left this bunch of young Saints players trying to figure it out pretty much by themselves, with their only real leadership left was Jaron Geary, that at the time was like only 28 years old. So you're we're trying to lead a bunch of 22, 21-year-olds, just absolutely failed, and sadly that means a lot of people's career at the Saints end up changing. Like there was only end up 4 or 5 players left from this 2016, which is still on the list today. I'll put this little graphic on the screen, which shows all the list changes that happened since this 2016 team, and it's kind of mind-blowing once you look at this. You don't realise how much this team's changed. It's only been 5 years, so it's such a crazy thing that happened. So, thanks for watching this video, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Comment down below what team I should try to do next, because this was really fun to make, and this was about a team that I actually knew, so I didn't have to do too much research into this. But if you want me to do another team, I'll happy to do some more research and try to do another team that you know and love that was changed since then.